Hello and welcome to today's match of the 2022 Okaloosa County High School Academic Tournament. This year we have 6 schools from Okaloosa County going head-to-head in a double elimination tournament format. These standout students will be displaying their knowledge of math, science, history, fine arts and literature, pop culture, and more to determine our tournament champion for 2022. I'm your host and moderator, David Honsinger. Lisa Nall will be our timekeeper and scorekeeper, while Nathan Cook and Eirik Banal will serve as our chief judges and make all the final decisions on all things official. Nathan Cook is a chief test engineer at 40th Flight Test Squadron. Mr. Cook is a test pilot school graduate flight test engineer with degrees in physics, education, engineering, and analytics. He is a California native and has lived in Okaloosa County for almost 9 years. Lieutenant Eirik Banal is a test engineer at the 28th Test and Evaluation Squadron. Lieutenant Banal is an air-to-ground weapons test engineer with a bachelor's and master's degree in mechanical engineering with a focus on modeling and simulation. He is from Columbus, Ohio, and is a proud Ohio State Buckeye. Today's teams are Niceville High School and Fort Walton Beach High School. So let's take a moment to hear from our schools and we'll come back and get underway. Welcome back. Let's meet our teams. First, under the coaching of Justin Reichard, we have Niceville High School.
John Keffel, Senior.
Kendall Small, Junior.
Nick Ford, Junior.
Vivian Price, Junior.
And their opponents today, under the coaching of Cindy Stone, is Fort Walton Beach High School.
Cece Cameron, Senior.
Kira Quinn, Junior.
Alex Parker, Junior.
Will Kiker, Freshman.
And now that we've met the teams, let's go ahead and get started with our first question today. Our first toss-up today is in the miscellaneous category. In the summer of 2021, this actress sold her production company, Hello Sunshine, for almost $1 billion, a company that makes movies created by women and based on selections popular with her namesake book club.
Oprah Winfrey.
That is incorrect. I'll read the entire question from the start for Fort Walton Beach. In the summer of 2021, this actress sold her production company, Hello Sunshine, for almost $1 billion, a company that makes movies created by women and based on selections popular with her namesake book club. Name this star of movies like Sweet Home Alabama, Walk the Line, which won her an Oscar for her role as June Carter Cash, and 2 Legally Blonde movies.
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon is the correct answer. Your bonuses are math questions. Answer these about 20th century mathematicians.
Okay.
Englishman John Conway developed this game in which cells with 2 or 3 neighbors survive and those with more or fewer neighbors die.
I defer to Will.
Conway's Game of Life.
Game of Life is correct. Next bonus is Russian Gregory Perelman proved the Poincaré conjecture and was thus awarded this medal, considered the Nobel Prize for Mathematics, but he turned it down.
Any idea?
No idea.
No answer?
Guess something.
Something.
It's the Fields Medal. Your next toss-up is a social studies question. The Mayo Clinic's list of this problem's symptoms include a sense of impending doom or danger, sweating, trembling, shortness of breath, and a feeling of unreality or detachment. Name this problem, sometimes caused by external stress and defined by Mayo.
Panic attack?
Panic attack is correct. Your bonuses are science questions. Identify these substances that, when rubbed on your hands over time, can cure skin fungus. This weak solution of acetic acid can be purchased in apple cider, balsamic, red wine, or malt varieties.
Vinegar.
Vinegar is correct. The gel in the leaves of this plant is also good for healing sunburn and canker sores.
Aloe vera. Aloe.
Aloe vera, yes. Your next toss-up is a math question. Pencils and paper ready. A 2x2 matrix has a top row of 5 and j and a bottom row of -4 and 3. Give the value of j if the matrix's determinant is 27.
Three.
3 is the correct answer. Your bonuses are social studies questions. Name the states that had these U.S. senators for longer than 40 years. First, Democrat Robert Byrd.
No idea. 2018. Let's guess. New Jersey. New York.
New York.
West Virginia. Democrat and then Republican Strom Thurmond.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
South Carolina is correct. The next toss-up question is a science question. This animal that can develop mulberry heart disease from a lack of vitamin E sometimes has babies that suffer from splay leg discovered after farrowing. The vertebrae in its back are horizontal instead of vertical like humans. Name this farm animal that sometimes suffers from bushfoot and sometimes dies from porcine stress syndrome or classical swine fever.
Pigs.
Pigs correct. Your bonuses are literature questions. His son Deucalion survived a worldwide flood that lasted 9 days. Name this Greek of myth who was punished by having an eagle chew on his liver for giving a gift to mankind.
Prometheus.
Prometheus is correct. Who, in the midst of his assigned labors, stopped long enough to shoot the eagle and free the man from liver chewing?
Hercules.
Hercules is the correct answer. The next toss-up is a literature question. What heritage is shared by authors Joy Harjo, who wrote Crazy Brave, a memoir, N. Scott Momaday, who wrote Housemaid of Dawn, Leslie Marmon Silko, who wrote Ceremony, Louise Erdrich, who wrote The Antelope Wife, and Sherman Alexie, who wrote Reservation Blues?
Russian?
That is incorrect.
Native American.
Native American is the correct answer. Your bonuses are fine arts questions. Name these foreign composers who made music while in the U.S. This European composer's symphony that uses African American spirituals is nicknamed From the New World.
Okay, so if anything, we'll just guess composer.
Who's like a somewhat modern, like 1800s composer.
That's a Beethoven.
That's 19.
Time.
Check.
The answer was Dvorak. This Russian came to Beverly Hills to work as a concert pianist, but actually wrote his Rhapsody on a theme of Paganini in Switzerland.
Russian composers.
Check Rachmaninoff.
What?
Rachmaninoff.
Defer to John.
Rachmaninoff.
Rachmaninoff is the correct answer.
Good job.
The next toss-up is a fine arts question. Identify the century whose major art movements included Suprematism, Neoplasticism, Cubism.
20th.
20th century is correct. Your bonuses are miscellaneous questions. Tell the most common colors of these type of apples. Envy, Cortland, Jazz, Winesap.
I would think
Yellow.
green.
But they would
Or
say Granny
yellow.
Smith.
I think it's yellow.
Yeah, they would
Yeah,
say
it's
Granny
yellow.
Smith. Yellow.
Red.
Oh,
Newtown Pippin Heirloom, Grenadier, Granny Smith.
that's green. Green.
Green is correct. Next toss-up is a math question. Pencils and paper ready. Give the product of the monomials 32x to the 5th, y to the 8th, and 1/8 x to the negative 3rd, y to the negative 5th. Nick,
4x to the second, y to the third.
that is correct. Your bonuses are language arts questions. Give these words that start with L. To intensely dislike someone or something, even worse than hate.
Loathe.
Loathe is correct. In the U.S. Navy, the rank between ensign and commander.
Lieutenant.
That's a good option, but I think it might be something else.
Are you sure?
Go with that.
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant is the correct answer. The next toss-up is a social studies question. In business, one synonym for this term is book value. A public company's increase in this quantity may correlate with a rise in stock price. People for whom this quantity is more than $1 million are...
Net worth?
Net worth is the correct answer. Your bonuses are math questions. Pencils and paper ready. Simplify these square roots or square root expressions as much as possible. The square root of 45 plus the square root of 80.
Square root of, so square root of 45. That is. I have 9.
It's going to be 3 square roots of 5 plus.
The answer there is 7 times the square root of 5. The next one is the square root of 32 times the square root of 8.
That's 32 times 8. It's going to be
I defer to Cece.
16.
Sorry?
16.
16 is the correct answer. Your next toss-up is a science question. Pencils and paper ready. A large beaker that contains 400 milliliters of distilled water has 40 grams of salt added and stirred into it. In decimal form, calculate the density of the resulting salt water. Cece,
10 grams per milliliter.
that is incorrect.
0.1 grams per milliliter?
Say it again, please.
0.1 grams per milliliter.
No, it is 1.1 grams per cubic centimeter. The next toss-up is a language arts question. The defendant tried to impugn the prosecutor's character by calling the prosecutor a liar and claiming the prosecutor had cheated on his wife. Spell.
I-M-P-U-N-E.
That is incorrect.
Oh, sorry, can I go? IMPUGN.
That is the correct answer. It was a spelling question. Your bonuses are fine arts questions. Name the creators of these famed sculptures. The Thinker.
Oh, Rodin.
Dean.
Yeah, Rodin. That's correct.
Rodin.
Rodin is correct. The sculpture set Bird in Space.
Dali. Was he a sculptor? A sculptor?
Yeah.
Dali.
Brancusi. Our next toss-up is a math question. Pencils and paper ready. Give the capacity in cubic feet of a moving box that measures 18 inches by 18 inches by 24 inches. John.
4.5 cubic feet.
That is correct. Your bonuses are social studies questions. Name these labor reformers featured on the SmithsonianEducation.org website. She was Franklin Roosevelt's head of New York's Labor Department before serving as his Secretary of Labor while he was president.
Do you know?
Emma Goldman.
Yeah.
Emma Goldman.
Francis Perkins. This head of the Cigar Makers Union spent 42 years in charge of the American Federation of Labor.
Edgar Valley, was that Debs or?
No.
No, it
It's
wasn't.
one who disappeared.
I don't know.
I don't remember
You
his
could
name.
try like Brian or something.
No, it's not Brian.
The answer is Samuel Gompers. That will be the end of the first half. Let's take a moment to total up our scores, and we'll be back after this break.
I chose to come to collegiate high school because you get free college and your high school diploma at the same time, and that's the best opportunity for any high school student.
I wanted to grow as an individual, and so I decided to move here to not be grouped into these different categories that you'd find in like traditional high schools.
I came to collegiate because I wanted to get used to college work and just being in a college environment before I actually move on to a bigger university.
The thing that makes Collegiate High different from other schools in Okaloosa County is that we're a small school. Students that attend the Collegiate High School are not just a number. We know students by name because of the small school atmosphere.
So what's great about this school is that all the faculty are here to help you.
They want them to excel in their academic life and personal life.
At the other schools, I felt like I wasn't quite being challenged enough in all the fields, but here it's like, you know, you have teachers that teach you well, and they teach you what's going to be applied in the future.
Many students think that if you go to collegiate, you can't play sports, you can't be in music, you can't be a high school student, but I still went to homecoming. I still went to the football games, I had fun with all my friends, and collegiate doesn't take that away from you. It adds on to your amazing personality.
In order to be successful at Collegiate High School, motivation, student motivation. You have to be academically motivated because you'll be academically challenged.
But when you go to a university, they'll see that you're dedicated and you're willing to take the course load that you'll be taking.
Let's say if you come with one thought. This thought is that you are unstoppable. Because if you come here thinking, you know, there's going to be too much work, there will be. It's not an easy school, it's a tough school. But you're going to come, and if you come thinking that nothing will stop, you will be successful, and you will be a college student.
Welcome back. At the half, we have a score of Niceville High School 145, Fort Walton Beach High School 65. Let's go ahead with round 2. The toss-up is a social studies question. The 9-day reign of Lady Jane Grey is considered a part of this dynasty's rule, along with the reigns of Edward VI and Mary I. This dynasty ended in 1603 with the death of Elizabeth I, who was succeeded by the Stuart ruler James I. Identify this British dynasty, begun by Henry VII, that also included the 38th year of Henry VIII.
The Tudors?
Tudors is the correct answer. Your bonuses are miscellaneous questions. Answer these about 3-on-3 basketball at the Tokyo Olympics. Latvia won the gold in the men's division by being the first team to score this many points in the final game.
Oh, goodness.
Is it like a number? What's a lot of points in basketball? Like 100.
I'll say like 100.
100.
21. The NBA requires a shot every 24 seconds. In 3-on-3, you have only this number of seconds to shoot.
You want to guess 15?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I don't know.
12. The next toss-up is a literature question. Identify the classic 19th century British novel whose retellings since then have included novels called Longbourn, Death Comes to Pemberley, Mr. Darcy's Diary.
Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice is correct. Your bonuses are social studies questions. Frenchman Auguste Comte developed this idea that all knowledge is derived through experience. Identify this good attitude philosophy starting with P.
Positivism.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Comte also coined this term starting with A and meaning selfless concern for the well-being of others.
Altruism.
Yeah, altruism.
Altruism. Altruism.
Altruism is the correct answer. Our next toss-up is a social studies question. This first president to have an interior secretary owned a Mississippi plantation called Cypress Grove. This military man, who rode a horse called Old Whitey, was known for his informal dress and often let Old Whitey graze on the White House lawn. Name this U.S. president, replaced by Millard Fillmore.
Zachary Taylor.
Zachary Taylor is correct. Your bonuses are math questions. Pencil and paper ready. I will give a trig ratio. You give not the value of the ratio, but the first quadrant angle whose value for that same ratio is equal to the ratio I give you. First, sine 127 degrees.
Second quadrant, I don't know. Okay.
The answer is sine 53 degrees. Next, tangent 256 degrees.
256. 7 minus 256 is 214? Or tan 14? Tangent of 14 degrees?
Tangent of 76 degrees. Our next toss-up is a literature question. This story ends with the marriage of an Indian woman named Aura to its main character after he and his servant Passepartout save her from death on a funeral pyre. Name this Jules Verne novel about the Englishman Phileas Fogg who, to win a bet, must do...
Around the world in 80 days.
That is the correct answer. Your bonuses are social studies questions. Answer these about Chinese dynasties. This founder of the Mongol dynasty unified large parts of Central Asia and ancient China.
Is it Genghis Khan or is it one of the later ones?
Yes, it's Genghis Khan.
I think it's Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan is correct. This dynasty completed the Great Wall of China, built the Forbidden City after overthrowing the Mongols, and became known for its beautiful porcelain.
Ming.
The Ming Dynasty is the correct answer. Our next toss-up is a miscellaneous question. Women competing on this device often practice by using a line on the floor of its same width and length. Its original wooden surface is now covered with suede or leather.
The beam or balance beam?
Balance beam is what I need, yes. Your bonuses are computers. Answer these about commands in basic HTML. A lowercase I between brackets indicates this type of font.
Italicized.
Italics.
Italics correct. To create a link to another page or site, put between brackets the letter A, a space, this 4-letter sequence, and then the address, in quote marks, of the page you're linking to.
Do you know?
I think it's just link.
I would think that.
Link.
No, it's href. Our next toss-up is a social studies question. This city on the east side of the Mississippi River is located in an area named for West Florida and is part of the Atchafalaya National Heritage Area. Built on a bluff to minimize the flooding that often hits other cities in its state, what state capital is home to both Southern University and Louisiana State?
Baton Rouge?
Baton Rouge is the correct answer. Bonuses are literature questions. Name these orphans from British novels. She turns out to be an heiress to diamond mines in the novel A Little Princess.
Anastasia?
Sarah Crewe. She and Amelia Sedley are friends through the novel Vanity Fair, but Amelia is much less concerned about money and social standing than she is.
Millie.
Becky Sharp. Next toss-up is a science question. The total amount of this quantity cannot be directly measured. Thus, what is usually measured at room temperature is the change in this quantity between a system's final and initial states. Name this quantity equal to the sum of a system's internal energy, U, and the product of its pressure and volume.
Temperature?
That is incorrect. Fort Walton? Cece?
Moles.
No, it's enthalpy. Our next toss-up is a fine arts question. The name of this musical genre is said to come from the Boys, who played with its legend Bill Monroe. It differs from country music by using only...
Bluegrass.
Bluegrass is the correct answer. Your bonuses are literature questions. Complete these quotes from poems by T.S. Eliot. This is the way the world ends, not with a bang, but a blank.
What a whimper.
Is it a whimper?
I think it's not with a bang, but with a whimper. I could be wrong.
A whimper?
Whimper is the correct answer. Blank is the cruelest month, breeding lilacs out of the dead land.
It's probably sometime in winter, so like lilacs.
Breeding lilacs.
Maybe.
You need to guess something at least.
April.
April is the correct answer. Our next toss-up is a social studies question. Few knew of this Canadian entertainer's years-long battle with leukemia before his death in 2021. Between the beginning of his career as a writer for the TV show Roseanne and the Netflix series he did at the end, he was invited back to host the show he'd been fired from for his regular jokes about O.J. Simpson.
Norm Macdonald?
Norm Macdonald is the correct answer. Your bonuses are science questions. Oak trees grow acorns. This type of tree grows pairs of winged seeds called samaras. Identify this tree, whose types include Japanese and sugar.
I don't know. What's it? Oh, the cherry blossoms, maybe?
I was thinking cherry blossom.
That's a big thing in China.
Cherry blossom.
Maple. The Cherokee Indians used maple bark to create this royal color of dye.
Purple. Is it royal?
Purple.
Purple is the correct answer. Our next toss-up is a science question. On a rear-wheel drive car, this device is between the rear wheels and is connected to the transmission by a drive shaft. Name this device, a set of gears that moves the engine power to the wheels and allows the wheels...
Transmission?
That is incorrect. I'll do the whole question again for Fort Walton. On a rear-wheel drive car, this device is between the rear wheels and is connected to the transmission by a drive shaft. Name this device, a set of gears that moves the engine power to the wheels and allows the wheels to spin at different speeds.
Axle.
No, it is the differential. Our next toss-up is a literature question. This writer's poem, Plain Language from Truthful James, tells of white men playing cards with a man from China and realizing that everyone in the game is cheating to some degree. Name this writer credited today with introducing local color into American fiction, especially his scenes of the California gold rush in short stories like The Outcasts of Poker Flat and The Luck of Roaring Camp.
Keats.
No, that is incorrect. Fort Walton?
Smith.
Bret Hart. Hart with an E. Our next toss-up is a math question. This theorem uses combinations to demonstrate that the numbers in the n+1th row of Pascal's triangle correspond to each combination n choose 0 through n choose n. Identify this theorem that calculates the coefficients for each term of the expansion of the quantity a plus b to the nth power.
De Moores?
No, that's incorrect. Alex?
Newtons?
Newton's.
Binomial theorem. And that is the end of the match. We'll take a minute, total up the scores, and we'll come back and show who the winner was. Welcome back. At the end of today's match, we have a final score of Niceville High School 190, Fort Walton Beach High School 175. Thank you for tuning in to this exciting match. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Microsystems Incorporated and 98 Barbecue. Please tune in again next time for another exciting round.